Can I break it down? I really want to break it down and show you what I'm about. Woo! We're back. And listen, guys, it is time to move on from the Jake Paul fight. Yes, we cried our eyes out. We blew our noses. We listened to Drake music on slow play, Marvin's room preferably, because damn, that shit hits different. Anyway, listen, it's time to move on. So get out the cardboard boxes and the U-Hauls. Fill that truck up because we have August 27th and it's getting closer than me and your girl do when you're not around. But we've only really talked about the main event of this card, and I want to start to build that out further. And we're going to do that today by talking about one of the biggest rivalries, Deji versus Pkwy. But specifically, I want to look at Deji because he dropped some new training footage today. So we're going to take a look at that, plus some other footage, because I have an idea as to how Deji may be changing from the last fight to this one. What could it be? You already know. The breakdown. Let's go. All right, so Daily just dropped this a couple minutes ago, so it's got to be some new stuff here from Dej. A little sneak peek before we even start. I'm pretty sure that's Kenny. Hard to tell, but I think that's him. Got the shirt off. Obviously, both have been in training today, but let's see where Deji's improved. Oh, hey. Hey, can I get a second to ease my way into this, Deji? Jesus, like a fucking shotgun went off. The first thing I want you guys to watch, and we talk about it a lot here, is this rotation of the lead hip. It just looks like Deji is getting more comfortable throwing punches. And this is what happens when you go through training camp after training camp. You don't take 2-3 years off and come back better. But when you are consistently working, things start to move more fluidly. You see already, yes, there is a shift of weight forward. But off that shift, bang, big twist in the hips, right? Heel comes off the ground, which doesn't have to happen, right? It's more of a hip movement, but the heel comes off because, again, we're activating the lead hip. We come straight across, blast that pad. Yes, you want to see him keep that chin down, but this is a nice explosive shot, and he doubles it up. Hey, another one. Sit down, big power shots in the pocket. Keep that in your mind because we're going to talk about that later. Woo, lead uppercut. We like that. And we're doing a good job of keeping our hands high here. Hey, even here, right? And we're replacing. Let's go, Deji. A problem on the influencer scene, or anybody really that's new, is that we're defensively responsible for 1 or 2 punches, and then things start to fall. So what I like that Deji does there, he starts lead uppercut. So we're here, bang, right? That one, we're still answering the phone. Hello, your girl there? No? Never mind, I'll call back later. Now when this rear hand comes, Deji does a great job of replacing. Bang, right? But not everyone does. So when I see combinations and we start here, 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 and then all of a sudden our hands fall and we're throwing like this, that's when counter shots are available. Deji's doing a good job here of covering his bases over multiple punches. Now, the reason I'm harping on that is because, one, it's important, right? Pkwy does have a lot of power regardless of what you think of his technique. If he lands, it's gonna hurt. And because, number 2, there is another video that came out today showing some little stuff of Deji, some fundamental work that kind of shows the opposite of what I'm talking about, not being as switched on. Now, this video is more washed out than the clothes I have in the laundry, so try not to get lost in the background like my man holding the pads, but let's take a look at what I'm talking about with Deji's hand placement on return. All right, so we watch him, throws the jab, right? Immediately, the lead hand falls by our stomach. This is what I'm talking about when I say let's be responsible with not only where our hand placement is to begin, but where it ends up after, right? Again, lead hand low. Not saying that Pkwy's gonna be an expert in slipping the left hand and banging something over the top or changing an angle and throwing a lead hook behind it, but if that is the case, it's there for the taking. And you obviously don't want that if you're Deji, so you have to remain switched on. Regardless of the session, regardless of how hard you're going, technique, responsibility, defensively, they all need to be there because you'll hear this everywhere, but the habits you bring in the sparring, in the training room will follow you to the ring on fight night. They will. You practice how you play. And like I said, these are minor little things, right? Little things for Deji to correct. And it seems like in some cases when he is fully switched on, they are corrected. And that's going to be a big point of contention because what they are trying to work on in the ring and, in my opinion, outside of it, is building this big time power that we saw in that first clip. Deji and their team will be fighting a bigger guy that night. So how do they combat that? Do they take the same approach that they did with Alex and try to play defensive and stay on the back foot around the outside of the ring? Or do they try something different? Think back to all of Deji's fights. He hasn't shown an ability yet to land big time, powerful shot that has been able to really rock or hurt someone. Even in the Vinny fight where he was throwing bombs, Vinny was able to take those shots. So if you're Deji and you do want to beef up for a bigger guy and you want to sit down on shots, add some power to your game to be able to get guys to stop pressuring you forward, which he wasn't able to do with Vinny, which he wasn't able to do with Alex, which he wasn't able to do with Jake. How do you do that? One way would be to get with one of the best strength and conditioning coaches in the UK, Leon Wills. Getting with Leon is a massive W for Deji for a couple of reasons. One, we've seen what Leon's been able to do with guys like Gib, guys like KSI. Their body transformations have been phenomenal with that system. He has upped their cardio levels to a degree that most people can't match. And I think he can do the same for Deji, but there is some footage out of these two training together, and we're not just seeing fat-burning, high-paced cardio lifts. We're seeing big-time compound lifts with somewhat heavy weight. Deji is absolutely putting on size and strength here. There's a video out, Deji's doing what is the equivalent of a 225-pound deadlift, and no, that's not a ton of weight, but he's doing it for reps. And we see him working on some shoulder press. There's even a preacher curl video where Deji's actually doing bicep curls, dumbbell bench press. They're building his upper and lower body, not only to be able to throw and sit down on power shots, but to handle some of that defensively, right? Be able to throw those big shoulders up and cover that chin, or be able to match Fuzi in the clinch, which when we go back to the Alex fight was one of his weak points. Alex kind of bullied him in that clinch. And yes, it's a fine line because you don't want to put too much mass on, or you don't want to put too much weight on a guy that already has cardio issues, but we know Leon's track record. The guys he trains, they're not worse for the wear cardio-wise after he's done with them. This is a massive move for Dej. I'm telling you, if this goes the way I think it will, we might have a fireworks fest on our hands. I'm not saying this is going to be a rock'em sock'em robots. I do want to see technique from both guys, but with the emotion in this fight and what's on the line for both guys, I could see this easily coming down to a mindset switch from both guys. Who's going to turn it on first and who's willing to stay in there and throw what I call the difference makers in influencer boxing fights, the big time power shots. Because regardless if they land clean or not, those are the difference makers to the judges, to the fans, and they could be the difference in the legacy of both guys going forward, either winning or going home, possibly for good. You guys let me know, what do you think of this training? Are they trying to not only change Deji physically and put some beef on him and make him a bit of a stronger fighter when he is going to have to throw shots back, but are they also switching the mindset of making him understand this isn't a defensive display you need to put on? You have to go and win this thing decisively, which means you're going to have to get in that pocket and throw some bangers. That's what I think when I see Leon working. Again, compound lifts, deadlift, bench press, shoulder press, bicep curl, these things with the weight involved there that is meant to put mass on an individual quickly. I have a feeling I know what they're going for, but the answers only come on August 27th in the O2 Arena in the most bitter rivalry, in my opinion, on the card. So then and only then will we really understand who wants this more. So, guess we'll find out.